I told you exactly where Palantir was going to hold, exactly where it was going to bounce, and last week, it executed with almost precision. Welcome back to Smart Stock Sam, where we don't just talk about stocks, we map them, we predict them, and then we watch the market prove us right. If you're new here, buckle up, because today we're going deep on one of the most controversial, most misunderstood, and honestly, one of the most exciting AI stocks on the planet right now, Palantir. And before we get into the details, here's the headline. Revised analyst targets are now pointing to explosive upside, and next week's price action could be the moment everything we've been building toward finally ignites. Today, we're going to cover the surgical price action that just validated our entire thesis, the fundamental firepower driving institutional buying, the short squeeze setup that could send this thing flying, and the exact price targets you need to have on your radar heading into next week. Stay with me, because if you miss what's coming, you're going to regret it. Let me take you back to February 21st. We drew a line in the sand, $135. That was the floor. That was the level we said the big money would defend. And what happened? On February 24th, the stock dipped all the way down to $126.37. And I know, in that moment, a lot of people panicked. Maybe you did too. Maybe you were watching it tick lower and wondering if the entire thesis was wrong. But here's what the data showed. That wasn't a breakdown. That was a test. And Palantir passed it. What we witnessed was textbook institutional absorption. The smart money came in at those lower prices, soaked up every share the sellers were throwing at them, and used $135 as a launchpad to reclaim the trend. The price action since then has been nothing short of surgical. And right now, with the stock sitting at $137.19 and an RSI of 60.27, there is still meaningful room to run before we even approach overbought territory. The bulls are in control. The data confirms it. But here is what made this week truly extraordinary. And this is the hidden signal most people completely missed. While the rest of the tech world was dealing with what we're calling the Nvidia hangover, while the Nasdaq was sliding and AI sentiment was getting shaky, Palantir was decoupling, it broke away, it climbed while everything around it was falling. Now ask yourself, when was the last time you saw a stock decouple from its entire sector during a risk-off moment and actually go higher? Because what that tells us isn't just that Palantir is strong. It tells us that investors are no longer buying generic AI exposure. They are buying Palantir specifically. That is a completely different level of conviction. And it is one of the most bullish signals we can possibly see. And the reason that conviction exists? The deal flow. We are talking about a $10 billion United States Army Enterprise Agreement, a $1 billion Department of Homeland Security software contract, major partnerships with the UK Ministry of Defense and the United States Navy. But the one that nobody is talking about loudly enough is the Impact Level 6 authorization. In plain English, Palantir is now cleared to operate in the most highly classified cloud environments on the planet. Do you understand what kind of moat that creates? What startup, what competitor is going to cross that line? The answer is none of them. This is a category of one, and the government knows it. Now, big contracts are one thing, but what happens when you look at the actual financial velocity behind them? The numbers are staggering. 70% year-over-year revenue growth, hitting $1.41 billion in a single quarter. And the number that should make every single bear reconsider their position, 137% surge in United States commercial growth. Not government, commercial. That means the private sector is waking up to what Palantir can do, and they are adopting it at triple-digit growth rates. Management is now guiding for $7.2 billion in total sales for 2026. This is not a slow and steady software company finding its footing. This is a growth monster that is just beginning to hit its stride. So who is actually buying at these prices? The smart money. Institutional ownership has now crossed 61%. BlackRock increased their position by 5.67%. Vanguard and State Street are adding as well. When these titans of capital accumulate aggressively, they do two things simultaneously. They signal confidence in long-term value, and they shrink the available float, meaning fewer shares are available for anyone else to buy. When you combine a shrinking float with surging demand, you create the conditions for explosive upside volatility, and that's exactly the environment we're in right now. Even Wall Street, the same analysts who spent months dragging their feet on this name, are being forced to capitulate. UBS just upgraded Palantir to a buy with a price target of $180. Rosenblatt initiated coverage with a target of $150. The street is no longer leading this move. They are chasing it. And when analysts chase price action, it creates a feedback loop of upgrades, increased visibility, and new institutional money coming in behind them. We are right in the middle of a repricing event. Now, I always keep it real on this channel, and I'm not going to pretend the risks don't exist. Palantir is currently trading at roughly 200 times earnings. That is an astronomical multiple, and it leaves almost zero margin for execution error. International growth is lagging at around 8% due to data sovereignty issues overseas. There are ongoing reputational headwinds tied to military and surveillance applications, and insiders have offloaded approximately $142 million worth of shares recently. Is that a warning sign of a local peak? It's a question worth asking. Every investor needs to weigh these factors against the bullish thesis honestly and soberly. But here's what the technicals are screaming right now: strength. Palantir is trading above every major moving average, the 5, 10, 20, 50, and 100-day. The MACD is flashing an active buy signal. Momentum is clearly pointed upward. This is not a stock clinging to life. This is a stock consolidating energy for its next major move. And that move? It could be triggered by the 51.36 million shares currently held short. Here's the thing. The days to cover ratio is only 1.16. If Palantir makes a sustained push above $140, those shorts are going to be forced to buy back their positions all at once. That buying pressure could catapult the price toward $145 or higher almost instantly. We are looking at a coiled spring, and the trigger is closer than most people realize. So here is the actual game plan for next week. Our primary entry zone is between $135 and $137. If we get a dip, and there is always a chance of a dip, a tactical limit entry between $130 and $132 is where you want to be ready. Target 1 is $140, where there is a massive call wall with 15,000 contracts sitting right at that level. If we break through that wall, target 2 is $145. Our invalidation level, the point where the short-term thesis is broken, is $127. A close below that changes the picture, and you need to respect it. And if you are thinking further out, if you have the patience to sit through volatility, and Palantir continues scaling its free cash flow toward $10 billion while sustaining this commercial growth trajectory, the long horizon target of $300 to $500 by 2030 is not a fantasy. It is a math problem with a very real answer. Before we wrap up, I want to be very clear about something important. Nothing I have said today constitutes financial advice. I am not a licensed financial advisor. Everything discussed on this channel is for educational and entertainment purposes only. All investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. You should always do your own research and consult with a qualified professional before making any investment decisions. Past performance, including any accurate predictions we've made, is never a guarantee of future results. Now for the final verdict. The $135 pivot held exactly as predicted. The $10 billion Army contract is a generational moat. The short squeeze setup is real and it is loaded. And SmartStock Sam has been ahead of this entire move. Here's the question I want you to answer in the comments below. Do you think Palantir breaks through $145 before April, or does the valuation finally force a real pullback? Drop your answer below. I read every single comment. If this breakdown gave you clarity or saved you from a panic sell, do me a favor. Hit Hit that like button, it genuinely helps this channel grow, and subscribe so you never miss a call like this one. I'll see you in the next one.